All right, we're rolling. See, mic check. All's good. All's well. All right, everybody. Episode 9, Skywalking with Wetz podcast. I got special guest Isaac Fisher with me, aka the Slender Giant. Um, he be dunking. Well, first off, he was a hooper, but now he travels the state and even parts of the country to partake in dunking competitions. Um, I watched him win a state championship in Great Falls?
Yep.
Yep, watched him win a state title in Great Falls, and I've even watched him at the Spokane Hoop Fest a while back. But anyways, we'll get into that a little later. By episode 9, after we have Isaac on here, I'm gonna be breaking down some NBA stuff, trades, moves, the Olympic team. Seen Cooper Flag's been going crazy. I don't know if Isaac saw that. Cooper Flag was going crazy in those Team USA scrimmages. Talk about some other stuff, but without further ado, Isaac Fisher. First off, man, I appreciate you coming on and just giving me some of your time. It means a lot to me, and I think I would rather have other guests for episode 9.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. And you reside out of Arlee, which you were born and raised?
That's right, my whole life.
Yep. You're out in Arlee. How is that like growing up? Even though you have Missoula right there, what's it like growing up in a small town, and specifically maybe on the reservation?
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a small town, not really much to do other than I just go play basketball on this train and just hang out with my friends. Other than that, yeah, not a whole lot, man. I even get some of the kids coming up to me that they're like, not much to do. There is really nothing out here, and no, yeah, they just say it's nothing to do, and that's probably a big reason why the kids fall into some of the bad stuff that they do out here. So I just want to try to do something positive with the community and with the kids and show them that there is a way you can do something impactful in your community.
Mm, absolutely. That's kind of why I asked, because first off, like the small town teams, you ain't got nothing to do but play ball, right? And so it shows like how
Yeah,
good some of those like Class C teams are. First off, but second off, like you said, in small towns, like kids can get into some stuff real early in their life, and it could be very detrimental to them, and like finding an outlet. So like would you say basketball is maybe your biggest outlet, or one of the things you always went to get through hard times, fill your time, Because it's kind of like an identity, especially in Montana. We ain't got much going on, but you can
yeah,
go play ball. You can go play threes at the park and stuff.
yeah. Always just hearing that sound of the snap or just hearing the sound of a good punch of a dunk, it just takes away time, takes away all the problems, just everything. It just like you say, you travel in time basically.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and shoot, man, y'all had some really good squads. And I watched the documentary on Rise Up and Montana, and it said you started picking up the ball around age 2. Your uncle and your aunt uncle kind of got you
Yeah,
involved.
yeah. I was 2 years old. Like I say, before that, I was living a pretty rough life with my mom and dad, kind of couch surfing with other relatives. Till my aunt and uncle finally just picked me up and all four of us other brothers, and it's like we want to do something with these boys. So
Hmm.
that was kind of what inspired me to do something with the youth, is what my aunt and uncle did for us. Took in us four boys and gave us a second chance at life to do something positive. So I think to show other kids that and other people that you can do something positive with a second chance at life, maybe it'll help turn their life around or help set them on a path to chase their goals and do something in their community. So yeah, like 2 years old is picked it up though, and we started learning.
Yep, started learning, and and that's a good way. Honestly, man, that's a really good way to look at it. You said you had some tough circumstances, and you kind of want to pay that forward. And I think that in this game of life, man. I think that's what it's really about, because those who go through those tough times, you have a certain courage or a certain kind of I guess identity to how to overcome hard times. And like when you associate, a certain thing to get you through, I think that goes a long way. And I think the game of basketball is that for millions of kids around the planet, and it's cool to see how you're really implementing that and giving back. And so when did you kind of decide like that was your path of like, okay, I'm not playing college ball, I'm not doing none of that right now, but I can use dunking in the game of basketball as a tool to, help motivate the kids.
Yeah, so like you say, I wasn't getting many college offers or nothing like that, or it wasn't to my liking, so I just was like didn't pursue it at all. So I, like you say, just was like, what can I do? What are, my aunt and uncle gave me a second chance at life. I can't just mess it up like everyone else. So I remember what Kenny Dobbs did for us when he came to our school, St. Ignatius Middle School in seventh grade. He kind of did what I do for kids now, give inspirational speech and a dunk show. And his message was like kind of like similar to mine, same stuff. He grew up at the party house. He was looking at jail time and he turned it all around through basketball and helping out the community, and it connected with me. And then there I am out there doing what he was doing years ago. And just a little bit ago, a couple months back, we actually connected and did a 7 school tour here on the Flathead Indian Reservation where he first inspired me. And we went to the school where he first inspired me and I first seen him. So it was like a full circle moment. It was just really crazy to be a part of. So yeah, those it just after high school, I remembered what he did, what my aunt and uncle did, and what the opportunity they gave me. So I put those together, and it's like, here we go, we can do it. And like you say, I wasn't college good at basketball. I wasn't like college level, I knew that myself. So I was like, and other pro dunkers like Jonathan Clark's, 1 Foot God, and all those guys, they was like, if you don't make it through college, you can have another, you can make money and have a career in basketball other ways. You have crazy athleticism, just put it to use with dunking, and just have a good positive message that people like in the community can support kids, schools, companies, parents. It has to be positive where everyone can get behind you and back you and want you to succeed.
Yeah, 100%. And it's crazy because I remember when like what's his name, Jordan Kilgannon, 1 Foot God, some of these dudes, man, I'm like, they really got a career based off of this, you know. And
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about basketball, and people don't really understand that, right? Is to play at a high and competitive level, whether it's college or even after college, that window in your life's really short. If you don't catch
Yeah,
that,
that's right.
if you don't catch that right away, or you don't get your foot in that door, it's short. But I've seen people really develop into great players, but that window's gone. But with the dunking, man, it's a whole career now, and you're seeing like with social media and all this other stuff, like, dude, he's not a dunker, but a guy like Tristan Jass, if you're familiar with
Uh,
him, um, he travels the country and he just makes basketball content, hooping. He can hoop, but he just makes
yeah,
basketball content, and um, there's more than that little window to play at a high level, whether it's coaching or something else. And like dunking, would you say it's like expanding right now, like the opportunities for that, or how do you kind of see that?
yeah, definitely. Like you say, it will expand for sure. I was part of dunk camp just in Utah with the professional dunkers, all those Jordan Kilgallen, 1 Foot God, every one of those guys, and like they say it's growing out in China, it's growing internationally, overseas, all over. Even here in the States, people are providing for their families just by, like you say, traveling the world and dunking. They are signing contract deals, they're getting parts in movies, they're doing all sorts of things. You can get modeling and stuff like that. So, like, dunking is opening the doors for all these other places, and a lot of people are catching on to it pretty quick and they're like using it and just expanding off it.
Yeah. And where do you see yourself taking this? Like, if is this, are you pretty new into the scene, or you feel like you're getting your way up there? Because, I mean, shoot, man, if you're going on a tour with Kenny Dobbs, he's right there. You know what I mean? And yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely say I'm kind of getting there more now. Like you said, I've had a tour with him, had a tour in Arizona. I've done work with the Boys and Girls Club here on the Flathead Indian Reservation and in Missoula. I've done work with schools in Missoula, just like public schools in Missoula. So yeah, I'm definitely expanding for sure. But what I see myself is like I'd like a group of dunkers, right? Like a team of 5 dunkers or more, maybe doing exactly what we're doing, just traveling the world, dunking, putting on shows, maybe even running some games, you know. Just like the And One team, Team Flight Brothers, Ball is Life, Dunkademics, all them guys. I just want to like take it there. Just want to go international. Definitely want to be like a top professional dunker that's known like internationally and worldwide for it. Like, oh man, that's Isaac Fisher, pro dunker, you know. Um, yeah, I just definitely wanted to see myself just taking it to the next level, next level, next level, and just seeing how far I could go with it, really.
Bro, and the unique thing about you is you're like 6'7". You don't, like you're doing all this stuff behind the back. Like, what's your wingspan?
Yeah, it's about 6'10", 6'9".
Yeah, man. Like that's absolutely insane. Cause like some of these dunkers, I don't know, man. Like Kenny Dobbs, he's what is he, 6 foot? Maybe? 6'1"?
6'4", yeah.
6'4"? Yeah, and
Hmm.
he gets up there, but like when I watch you dunk, I'm like, it's for me, it's almost more impressive because it's like it takes a little while to get the ball where it needs to go between the legs, behind the back. You'd be doing like 360 behind the back things, and for a guy that lengthy, that's tough.
Yeah, some people don't understand that. They're like, "Oh, he could dunk because he's tall," but it's like, no, like you say, they don't understand the footwork, the timing, the just like everything, the coordination and everything it takes, you know, because like you look at it 10 years ago or 9 years ago, guys my height couldn't even dribble with the ball and run down the court, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And for big guys like us to be doing those types of dunk, it's just crazy and people they're like, "Oh, he's just tall."
Nah,
It
man,
just kind of
you got to have just as high of as a vert as those dudes just to get, like you say, fly through the air. Because you got to have
yeah,
time from when you leave to where you come back down, where you get everything in. So you need to be getting up
that's right.
just as
That's
much
right.
as they do, you know. But but is it for you coming from the situation you come from, the circumstances and things like that? And you mentioned full circle when you went on that tour with Kenny Dobbs. Um, has there ever been like one moment where you just kind of sat there and took it all in and be like, "Yeah, this is my life."
Um, yeah, kind of. It was a little after the Arizona tour when me and my buddy Silas got back. You know, I was like, man, we really got flown down there. They was paying for our food. They gave us like 2 gift bags each. They was like showing us around with nothing but major respect, love, and hospitality. It was just so welcoming and like oh no, when we got back, I was like, man, we really just did that, you know, just
Yeah.
for dunking and just trying to inspire the youth. It was just so crazy. Like I had my buddy come out and he flew with me. It was just wild, man.
So how did that happen? Did someone just reach out to you and be like, "Hey, we want you to come down," or?
Yeah, so we was actually at a 40 and over tournament for my uncle. He was playing in a basketball tournament down in Lapway, Idaho. And we met this guy. His name is Ted Shaw. Really nice dude, really awesome guy. He was like, "Hey man, I'm a police officer where I'm from. In Arizona, we have kind of the same problems that you guys are dealing with on your reservation. Your story would really inspire the kids down here." So I was like, "Okay, cool. Heck yeah, man. Here's a card." I gave him a business card I had and some stickers after he like got back to where he was from and told the people about me and what he wanted to do with this tour, they gave him the go ahead to pull the trigger on it. So they got me to go out there. They was like, "Hey, we want you to come out and inspire these kids." So I was like, "All right, yeah, I'd like to do it, but you know, I want someone to go with me, part of my flight squad, because that's new territory, and I just didn't know what I was getting into, you know."
Yeah.
I didn't know if these guys was gonna be waiting for in the truck, get me in there or not, you know. I want someone down there with me.
Yep, yep.
So yeah, it was cool. So that we did it, made it happen.
Yeah. And how much does that mean to you? Like, do you have like? Let's just start there. How much does that mean to you, knowing that like, you put in a lot of hard work and dedication, and probably maybe at times you're like, is this really what I want to do? Continue to do. You know?
Yeah, Yeah, it means a lot, especially when like these schools, people, and like Ted, even how he reached out and told me like, how no, no, I was like, how their family members or how they knew people that passed and how it's getting pretty bad and like in their own family and stuff. And like they're crying to me on the phone, like how they really need me to go down there and inspire the youth. And for to hear that and to hear people like really want me, like, hey man, we really need you down here. This is what we want you to do, and you just do what you do, and like just to hear that and go down there and be a part of it, like you say, it means a lot because coming from a young small town on the Indian reservation, coming from a kid who was couch surfing from family to family member, in a rough life, and now to be getting called on as inspiration, like you say, it just means like, oh no man, it's I just can't put it into words, it just gets me deep down in there, like, you know.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. 100%. And I totally get it. And it's one thing, you know, um, to use your own life experience to shed knowledge to that next generation who really needs it. And it's probably very cool to see when you're in that gym. Yeah, the cool stuff is your dunking, but you also let them know, hey, these are things I dealt with, and this is how I dealt with it. And that's why I'm here in front of you today, is because dunking brought me here, but dunking helped me through these things. And there's probably not a better feeling
Yeah.
in the world for you when you see those kids cheering you on, going crazy, wanting the autograph and all that.
Yeah, it's really like, I don't know. I had this one kid come up to me after the show in Missoula once. He was non-native. He was like, "Hey man, when I grow up, I want to be just like you, and my nickname is gonna be Isaac Fisher." I was like, "Heck yeah, man, that's awesome. Do
Yeah.
it. I believe in you. You got it." It
Yep.
was really cool to hear that, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's no better feeling. I work in a school and with little elementary kids, and just like the little things, like we've all gone through our stuff, but like the most important part is trying to shed that knowledge onto them. Because I work in a
Yeah,
district where it's a high Hispanic population, but they be dealing with the same stuff. Families on the reservations in Montana be dealing with. Like very low income, a lot of poverty, a lot of drugs and crime, and it's like, man, you know nothing's better than like giving some knowledge to a kid and watching them actually use it and implement it or actually chase a dream. And I think that might be one of your biggest messages, is like, chase your dreams, man. Like there's more to all of this than what you think.
yeah, for sure.
hmm and so there's probably a lot that goes into keeping your body in like tip top shape. And again, I was watching that documentary on you, that like one on Rise Up Montana. You say you waking up at 4:30 and getting it in, and you're like, you had that kind of slap in the face moment at U of M, and kind of from there you stayed really steady on your agenda. How important is that? And like, what can you say and kind of like talk about to how important having a strict agenda is to achieving your goals?
Yeah, that's right. You have to be like, no one can stay motivated forever, right? Yet
Yeah.
everyone talks about motivation. Oh, I'm motivated, but no, man, motivation can take you only so far. Once you get to like a week in, or a couple days in, or a month in, you finally starting to get fatigued and you're getting tired, and you're like, man, why am I even doing this? It's discipline. That's what really kicks in. Discipline is the difference between a good player and a great player. You know what I'm saying? So having that discipline after, like you say, that University of Montana halftime show, I wasn't really disciplined. I was motivated, but not disciplined. I was like, you know, only doing these cool workouts and only cool dunks when I was like wanting to or was feeling good. But like after that, I was like, man, you're not as good as you was thinking you was. So it really like kicked me into gear. Like, come on, man, you was posting all these cool videos, and as soon as you get out in the halftime show, you was crap. So it really like kicked myself in the butt. So I really kicked it in gear. I've been adding some really heavy weights to squats, deadlifts, power cleans, hex bar jumps. I've been doing a lot of like heavy lifting and type stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of what do you call those, dynamics, agility, just trying to get my feet working, everything, my whole body all
Hmm.
in tune, so it's all use one muscle. So I've been doing a lot of that, which is really good. So like you said, I wake up 4:30 in the morning just so I could stretch and be ready by the time the gym opens, so nobody gets on my machine. I don't want nobody taking that squat rack before me.
Yeah.
I'm racing for that squat rack. So yeah, I warm up, I get to the gym, I work out. I work out for about an hour, and then once I'm done with my workout, I'll go out to the gym. There's like a small adjustable rim. You could adjust it to any height.
Hmm.
I'll adjust it to about 9 feet, maybe 8'6", just to where I have to barely jump to dunk it. And I'll work on my dunks, all my dunks. There's contest dunks, warm-up dunks, dunks I want to learn on 10 foot. I just do them all. Once I'm done with that, I feel more warmed up. I'm ready to go. I take it to the big hoop that I'm dunking on there. When if I'm feeling really good, I'll go X Games mode and just try all the crazy dunks I can and
Yeah.
just try to hit some new dunks. But if I'm not feeling good, I'll just do the basics: one hands, two hands, off the glass, 360s, just stuff like that. Just just to get the legs pumped up.
Yep.
It
How?
usually takes me about 2 hours to 3 hours total.
Okay. That's what I was about to ask and say how long you in there for. But yeah, 2 3
Yeah, and
hours.
then
That's a
after
good
that,
one too,
sometimes,
man. That's a good workout.
yeah, yeah, I like it for sure. It gets me all ready.
Yep. Yep. And so kind of to the University of Montana thing, I think that's all a part. I think those moments are what separate, like you kind of said, great people from, or great people at a certain thing than good people, is when you get humiliated or you don't do as good as you thought. How are you going to handle that? Right? Are you going to fold and just, be a victim of the circumstances, or you say, no, I could do better, that's on me. And I think that's a big
Definitely.
part of, the journey of life, are those moments. Are you going to fall back, or are you going
Mhm.
to keep going?
Yeah, I really needed that slap in the face though, for real. Like that's really a, what do you call that? Career maker,
Right.
game changer. Yeah, I think everybody needs one of those in their career once in a while, for sure, a couple times in their career, because it's always just a reminder to keep yourself, doing better than what you've been doing. Because it's always easy to fall back and slack a little bit or take a break here and there, but having those moments, it's always good because it refreshes you to reset, reset, reset. You're always disciplined.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Would you ever have you ever gone back to UM after your first time, or was that your only time doing it?
Yeah, that was my only time, but I definitely like to do it again for sure to redeem
Yep.
myself, and
I
I
was
know
gonna
I could
say,
do
get
better
him
this
back in
time.
there. Get him back in there, man.
Yes, sir.
He ready. That's cool. And that's
Yeah.
that was probably cool. Like I don't know. Before we get you out of here, I gotta ask you a couple questions. All right. So,
Okay.
what are your top three places, like your favorite places you've been a part of a dunk contest? Because that Hoop Fest one's no joke. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, I'd say the Phoenix one, this All-Star Celebrity Game that Kenny Dobbs had. That was a little while ago. I'd say that one was probably one of the first ones. I'd put that first up on the top because the atmosphere was crazy. It was a sold out show. It was in a bigger city. There was big professional names like Sharif O'Neal, Geo
Hmm.
Wise, and all those other guys that was out there. Kenny Dobbs and every White Iverson. So to go out there and perform and take second place, I think was pretty good. I think I got Aaron Gordon though between the legs, did a LeBron James dunk, and I took second. The other guy, he ain't even go between the legs. He ain't even put his
You
elbow in the
got
rim
Aaron
or do
Gordon.
nothing to beat those dunks.
Yeah.
They show all my dunks in the highlights that they showed, and I was just like, "What? You're gonna show all my dunks in the highlights, but I didn't win?"
Yeah, just like Aaron Gordon. Same exact thing, man. That's crazy. I have to go watch that. I can find that somewhere too. So I think I've been in that gym. Is it like a black court, and then they got a couple courts like on the other side of that wall, full basketball courts?
Yeah, it's the facility. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
facility.
yeah.
It
We
was
had
a
to
really nice
practice down
place.
there once, And I was like, dang. And people are like, yo, this is where Kobe be bringing his kids to play AAU. Like when they're down here, it's in this gym. I was like, I'm in the gym where Kobe Bryant was before. You know, it's crazy. It's a cool place. It really is. You there?
Yeah. And then the second one, I would have to say that Spokane Hoop Festival. Did we lose connection?
Yep. Yep. One sec. One sec. If you could hear me, back out and join right back in. And yeah.
You there?
Oh, yep. Can you hear me?
Okay, we got you. I got you.
Okay. Yeah. 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 So, you said that. Here, real quick. Back out real fast, and yeah, and just come right back in. All right, there we go. You got me?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so we just had your first. You said the second one was Spokane.
yeah. The second one is Spokane because it was just so crazy. I was took third out of 20 dunkers, so that was pretty cool. I thought. The
Bro,
first
and
or the
they
third,
they disqualified you for hanging on the rim.
yeah, that was the first year back in 2016. They did that, but this last year, well, this last time it was just what was that? Last week, Spokane Hoop Festival
Yeah,
was the last
yeah.
weekend. I actually went down again and competed, made it to the finals, and then only took third, which is pretty good, I thought. So to go back and redeem myself was pretty cool. But yeah, the first year, like you said, I was 16 years old, got penalized for hanging on the rim, did it off the glass reverse two hands, and they thought I hung too long.
That's crazy. So did I see they moved the dunk contest in the Hoop Fest to like we're like underneath that little dome thing?
Yeah, that's where it is. It was
Because that
cool.
some of your pictures went crazy. I was like, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but the third one. What's the third one?
Dang, man, that's tough. I'd say maybe the one in Denver. I was down in Denver.
Mm,
Yeah. It was my first dunk contest ever. I was joined. You know the Denver Classics for the high school ones.
yeah,
What do they call that? All West Native American Classics or whatever. So I went down there for junior high. My older brother, he was a senior playing in that. There was a dunk contest. I was like, man, when I get in high school, I want to win that thing. So I was in there my freshman year. One of my buddies, he was actually competing. I was like, let's go, Strava. You can do it. Sadly, he didn't do it, but by the time my senior year, I actually got to compete and I won it. So that was pretty cool. It was not too bad.
yep,
But it
yep,
wasn't like a professional contest, so that's why it's not up there.
yeah. But hey, still not bad spots. Still not bad spots to be competing in. And the last thing I got for you before we get you out of here is who are your top five dunkers of all time? They could be NBA or just pro dunkers. Or how about this? Give me your top three pro
Okay,
dunkers and give me your top three in-game dunkers in the NBA.
I like that. First, I'll go Kenny Dobbs first because he started out. He showed me the game. Then I'd have to say Guy Dupuis. He's the French guy. They call him the French assassin or the frequent flyer. He was just doing stuff off one foot that I just never seen before. It was unreal. The dude was like floating. And then the last one, I'd have to say Jordan Kilgannon, dude, because he was inventing dunks that no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
He's still inventing dunks that no one's seen. He's just a goat all around. In-game dunkers, I'd have to say Sean Kemp. That
Yep.
that guy is crazy.
Yep.
You can't, and then you can't skip Vince Carter. Vince Carter was just
Hmm.
doing unreal stuff. You see in the dunk contest where he put his elbow in the rim. um, Another one, Dominique Wilkins, just powerhouse. That guy, just wicked windmills, unreal.
I like. Hey, That's a great list. That is a great list. You see, that's the thing. Like,
Oh yeah,
we grew up just like you know, around that time of Sean Kemp, Dominique Wilkins was still being talked about, but like people don't know. Kids now don't really know. They know Vince Carter, but like Sean Kemp was putting it on everybody's head, and so was Dominique. They're doing some of the craziest stuff in that competition between Dominique and
yeah,
Jordan, bro, all time.
definitely was for sure.
But all right, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on and giving me some of your time. It does mean a lot, and I appreciate the message that you spread and the things that you do within your community, especially in Montana, especially for those kids on the res, man. It goes a long way, and they need someone to look up to. And it might not be every kid that you're able to reach to, but it's the kids that you are. It goes a long way, and I think you have a great message and you're doing a lot of great stuff. So I appreciate you coming on for episode 9. It means a lot.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, and thanks for having me. It was real fun talking with you.
Yes, sir. And we'll be reposting the dunks. Don't worry. But I appreciate you, man. You have a good day. Great interview right there. Isaac Fisher, man. That kid can dunk. He can fly. And he's tall, so it's tough sometimes to really, appreciate it because like, oh, he should be dunking, but like a tall, lengthy dude to be doing those kinds of dunks he's doing, it's pretty. For me, it's insane. You gotta know. And I'm not saying I was a dunker or anything like that. I was the opposite of a dunker. I was farther out from the rim. But just the athleticism and things that go into things like that. It's crazy, especially for a tall cat. He's still got to get up there, to go between, behind, whatever it may be. But great interview. I appreciate him coming on. And it's a good way to start back up. It's been about a month since I've been back. I'll just kind of break that down for y'all. So I missed the last couple games of the finals. But was there really much to really talk about? I mean, the Celtics proved to be wrong. So here's the thing about it. My heart wanted the Mavs, so I went and rocked with the Mavs, right? But, there's something about your real intuition that says, yeah, the Celtics, like, the Mavs, I want the Mavs to win, but it's going to be a tough series to win. Like, the Celtics obviously ain't no slouches. They've been there how many times? Well, 2 times the last 3 years, but been in big games. Like, they were due, but really not much to report on. Luka had a decent series. Kyrie didn't have his best series at all. Jaylen Brown had a great series. Jason Tatum had a couple great games, couple not so great games. But like the Celtics are so stacked and they're so deep. They play defense. They just do it all, man. And between then and now, like I didn't report on none of that because there's first off really nothing to report. But I did some traveling. I was coaching. Went up to Montana. Moved. I had a couple different things going on. Not moved to Montana, but I moved out here in Colorado. Just down the road from where I was, but just a lot of stuff. Had to get the stuff set up. I still don't have my stuff on the walls, but I had some people asking, "Are you done? Is Wetz done? You still doing pods?" Yes, 100%. We still here, but a man lives a busy life. I got my hands dipped in a lot of different pots, so I'm just just kind of keeping the options open. But this is one thing I'll always come back to for sure, 100% all day. But we're here now. There's been a lot of stuff in the NBA that's transpired. Clay left Golden State. I feel like we saw that coming ever since he didn't sign his extension that Golden State offered him. And it turns out Golden State was like, hey, we're going to have you wait to see who we sign. Then we'll pay you. And he was like, nah, dude. Like, obviously you're not yeah, you want me on the team, but you're not prioritizing. You wouldn't say that to Steph. You didn't, say that to these other Draymond, maybe. I don't know exact details, but from his perspective, he's probably like, okay, like, you don't value me like I thought you would. You know, even though he may have had a bad season, he still had great games. You know, he didn't have his best season, and they're looking in other directions. Whereas, you know, he's coming from the perspective of I've helped win you 4 rings. You know, I've done a lot for this thing, and I should be treated like Pippen was treated, or you know, all these other people were treated, and they got to stay a part of the main group for as long as could be. Even though Pippen left after Jordan left to, you know, he went to the Trailblazers. But anyways, that's how I feel like it went down. It sucked to see. Like, I'm not a Warriors fan by any means, but you know, you got to appreciate what was, and that Warriors run with that 3, Draymond, Steph, and Clay, absolutely unreal. Just those 3 won 2 rings together. They in total won 4 rings, but they got 2 with KD, who wasn't part of that. But now Clay's on the Mavs, and I feel like that's exactly what the Mavs need. You know, Clay, I think he still can produce a lot more than maybe what he was in Golden State. I mean, he just didn't. I feel like Clay kind of looked checked out in Golden State. Yeah, he could have done better, but a guy who maybe, you know, is thinking long run, like, these guys don't respect me. A lot of drama, Draymond stuff. Like, it takes a toll on a dude who just kind of wants to hoop. So now he's in a Mavericks uniform, and the Mavs could have used that in the finals 100%, even though they lost a couple of dudes already. Clay coming in adds something with Kyrie and Luka that they haven't necessarily had at that high clip, which is just a bona fide knockdown 3-point shooter who can stretch the floor, can dribble if needed, and he can play relatively good defense. Clay can go nuclear at any moment of the game, and to have that as an option for Luka and Kyrie is going to be great, especially Luka. Luka gets his shooters open. Clay, and this is the thing, for Clay, it's a different system, right? Like, Golden State run a very unique system for their shooters, because obviously they had Steph and Clay, and so they had this great system for the perimeter, and it's not the same with Dallas. Dallas doesn't run the same stuff. They run a lot of pick and roll, get Luka and Kyrie downhill, and they hit their open shooters. So I think it'll be interesting to see where that goes and how that plays out for Clay. I think Clay's still going to get good looks and open shots and a lot of shots, but they're going to come in a different form than they used to. You know, he might be standing in the corner a little bit more, even though he's done that before. But it'll just be interesting to see. I think that's a big pickup for Dallas. Like, why wouldn't you? You know, he had one bad season, but there's a lot of things that played a role into that season as well. And, you know, where was he mentally? Where was he in all those other spaces? And so I think it's a nice, fresh, rejuvenating thing for Clay, especially a place like Dallas. You get to keep your bread a little bit more. Your owner's going to have your back. You know, media's not as crazy. So Dallas, I think that's a really good fit for Clay. What else went down? Oh, Paul George to the 76ers. Look, I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. I love Paul George's game. I'm just going to start with that. I love Paul George's game. Like, you talk to a lot of hoopers, they try and take Paul George's game. They try to mimic it. Why? Because he's smooth. He can pass. He can dribble. He can shoot. He was once known for his really good defense, and he still plays good defense, but is that the priority? I don't know. Why did he leave the Clippers? He wasn't getting enough money. I'm going to get to that point here in a second. But right now, actually, let's get into that point now. No. I'll get to it a little bit. But now he's on the 76ers. He almost went to Golden State, which I feel like would have been a better fit for him, because Paul George is a number 2. Okay, he's a number 2. He's going to be the second guy on a championship team if he's on a championship team. So the number 1's Embiid. He's 2. Maxi's 3. But is Paul George going to bring the 76ers over the hump? I don't know. I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. Because here's the thing about the NBA, that, like, these stars teaming up, and Phoenix is a great example. Some other places are great examples. Like, it doesn't always work out. Like, and a dude like Paul George, they're gonna win regular season games, and if they don't, it's gonna be a chemistry thing. Because now you got to think, Maxey, that was the number 2 last year. He's taken a step back, so his role's kind of going to be limited. And if they don't limit his role, everyone else's role is going to be limited. So it's like these 3-headed monsters that teams are building. Like, what does that do for chemistry, and what brand of basketball is really put out there? Because you're paying Paul George to score the ball, you're paying Maxey to score the ball, you're paying Embiid to score the ball. Like, they're not all, like, Embiid plays defense, he gets his blocks, but like, they're all there to score the ball, and not necessarily focus on defense, not necessarily focus on running an offense or a system. In my opinion, people might disagree with me, and you probably will, and it is what it is. Who cares? In my opinion, is that gonna beat the Celtics? Is that gonna beat a healthy Heat team? I don't know. Like, this ISO ball, things like that. Like, it can only get you so far, and that's what leads to dudes choking in the playoffs, is when they don't have a really good system, or they're not really running good offense to get good shots for everybody. Because you have 3 dudes now who are going to take 70 to 80 to 90% of your shots. And some of these other dudes, it's hard for them to get in the rhythm. Like, look at PJ Tucker on the Clippers. He was like, dude, why am I here? I'm just doing cardio. I hate it here. And so it'll be interesting to see, like, if they could put together a good system, that'll be great. But it'll just be interesting, because Paul George in OKC didn't work. Paul George at the Clippers didn't work. Even though he did hoop. We're not taking anything away from Paul George, but they just never got over the hump. A lot of that is due to injuries to Kawhi and some other people, but I just haven't seen that from Paul George since, I guess, Indiana, because OKC, they didn't do much. The Clippers, they went to the Western Conference Finals, I think, but still they were hobbled up. They've lost some tough playoff series, but that's the thing. You're paying Paul George to be that guy to lift you over, and can he do that alongside of Embiid? Who knows? But the Sixers are right there. This very well could work out, and I could be very wrong, and I hope I am wrong. But sometimes it's like, I've seen this too many times to not really think that's like that. People are saying that's the biggest acquisition, or biggest thing a team's done biggest acquisition a team's had all off season. And I don't know, let's see if it works out. I hope it does. Philly deserves it, Suns deserve it more, but I love Paul George's game and things like that. But it's just like, I'm just questioning what does Paul George and that dynamic bring to the Sixers. We had Harden there. Is it going to be the same kind of thing? They kind of play ball the same way, in a sense. We'll see. ISO ball can only get you so far. But again, like, why wouldn't he stay with the Clippers? Why would he not want to stay with the Clippers? And it's because they weren't going to pay him what he wanted to be paid. But we're also living in an age now where the NBA has a tax bracket or a payroll threshold. You can only pay so much to your higher players, and like, pay cuts are good. And when are we going to see players take pay cuts? LeBron offered it, but he's already on the other side of his career, unfortunately. But like, what happens when the Paul George does it? He says, okay, I'll take 25 mil a year, and bring in some other guys, and let's just stack this team up. Like, why can't, like, are we going to see that? And I hope we do, because that's when we'll see some of the greatest teams of all time. But like, sometimes dudes, like, for me, it's like, damn, man, you're like a 100 millionaire, whatever you want to call it. Like, you're making so much money in 1 year, I'll never sniff. Personally, like, you make so much money to play the game of basketball, and why can't some of these cats just take, they're always saying, I won't be paid what I'm worth. Yes. But with championships comes sacrifice, and that's why you see a lot of guys sign big contracts in places. And in my head, I'm saying, yeah, they're not trying to win. They're just trying to get a bag. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with Paul George, but like, if you're from LA they're going to pay you still a boatload of money. Why not stay and use that other money to bring other great players in? Would you rather be ringless with millions and millions of dollars, or have a ring and still have millions and millions and millions of dollars? I like the second option personally, but you know, I don't know. It's easy for me to say because I don't make nearly enough. Like, he makes more per game than I do in a year. We'll just put that in perspective. He makes more probably in a game than I do. Maybe not. Maybe in 5 games. No, I don't know. You're getting paid $20 million a year. Shoot, yeah, he might be making every 2 games what I make in a year. And what he makes in 1 game is probably some people's full salary that they live off of, especially starting out, coming out of college. So, I don't know. I'm not bashing Paul George. I don't want that to come off the wrong way. Paul, if you ever see this, I'm sorry. I don't want it to come off like that. But again, how's it going to work? I hope it works out. I really do hope it works out. But one thing you've seen, and the Suns were a great example last year, you have all these stars, but how do you make it work out? Who's going to take the sacrifices? Who's going to lessen their role for the betterment of the team? You know, like, what system can you put in place to make sure everyone's getting touches, everyone's in the flow? Because when those 3 are taking the majority of the shots, it's hard for those other guys to get in rhythm. So it'll be interesting. Rhythm and happy. The Thunder, I've had a great offseason as well. They got Caruso, Hartenstein, and some other stuff, man. They're crazy. The Thunder are absolutely crazy. Great squad. We'll see. I don't think they'll get there next year, but I think they're knocking on the door if they keep that core intact. Maybe they make a big trade. But we'll see. It all depends. It all depends on, you know, what is going on. Hold on, I'm looking at something. Is something playing my background right? No, should be good. I hope, unless this ruins the whole pod. I hope so. Yeah, what else? The Lakers have flopped this. They've flopped so far. You know, the Golden State's flopped so far. They brought in Buddy Hield, but that's not going to... Golden State's going to be interesting, man. I feel bad for Steph. I really do. They're better with Clay than without. You know what I mean? And they let him go. And so they suck. No, they don't suck. Okay, that's not what I meant to say. They've sucked this offseason, and so have the Suns. The Suns haven't really done much. We've had some good guys on the market. I was like, why don't we go out and get a Kevin Love? Why don't we go out and get a Kyle Lowry? And people are like, why would you want Kevin Love or Kyle Lowry? Because that's all we can pay for. But there's still dudes you can plug in. Solid point guard, Kyle Lowry. Kevin Love, a good forward that can stretch the floors. Won a ring. Won a lot of playoff games. So yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting NBA year. I'm excited. This draft class wasn't too bad, but the things that really stood out to me was the lack of knowledge I had for the guys in the draft. First off, really nobody has stood out to me. That Alex Sarr, he's tough. Is he the Frenchman? I don't know. See, and this is the thing. The only thing that was ever published, and this is the problem too, and this is the problem about the whole gig. The only thing I ever saw about the draft was Bronny James. And shout out Bronny James. He got drafted. That's huge. I mean, obviously, I feel like, look, if you're the Lakers and you're in that spot, and like, what are you going to lose? What do you have to lose? Who are you going to draft in that spot that's really going to pay dividends to your organization? The one thing Bronny James is going to bring is money. He's playing with his dad now, and he's going to have his own NBA jersey, and he's going to bring in revenue. And I think that's kind of a move you pull in that kind of situation if I'm the Lakers. And you also get to sit with like the heartfelt moment of, oh my gosh, LeBron James is playing with his son. That's crazy to say. Like, that's crazy for me to say because I've watched LeBron since I was a little dude, and I'm older than his son, and his son's in the league, and it's good for him. He had cardiac arrest like a year ago, dude, and now he's in the league. Is it gonna work out? I don't know. People are calling it nepotism. There could be, yeah, there could be a little nepotism in there, or however you say it. There could be, there's definitely a little bit of that in there, you know. But where doesn't that happen? First off, and second off, no, the kid is still a good basketball player. You know, he still has a lot. He has a high ceiling. You know, like, how could you not root for the kid? Yeah, he's already coming in a little at a disadvantage because his pops is LeBron James, the top 5 player of all time, and playing for the Lakers. But what was crazy is that he got a guaranteed contract, and they're saying most of his time is going to be spent in the G League, which is crazy. He got a Rich Paul's the best. He is the best, absolute best agent on planet Earth. If he's given a late second round pick and getting him a fully guaranteed contract, and some of these other guys don't get. None of those other guys get that opportunity. And so yeah, it's it'll be interesting. I'm rooting for Bronny though. I'm rooting for him. It'd be cool to see him and his dad on the court, you know, a couple times. Maybe throw his dad a lob. That would go crazy. That would be at play of the year if Bronny threw his dad a lob, especially off the backboard, D Wade style. D Wade didn't even throw it off the backboard; threw it behind his head. But anyways, that was like the biggest thing that stood out to me with this draft class, though, was like it was all about Bronny. It's all about Bronny, which, yeah, that's cool. And that's something to report on. But it shows, then that's the problem with, you know, media nowadays is Bronny's going to get his attention no matter what. How about we give more attention to these first rounders who actually deserve to be, you know, first round picks and are way, no offense, way better than Bronny already. You know, like, it's all a cash grab. Everything around here is a cash grab now in any kind of media, politics, sports, whatever it is. It's all a cash grab. It's all for the clicks. And to me personally, I'm at to the point where I'm just kind of sick of it. I'm like, dude, all this stinks. You know, all this, even like when you go to the WNBA, like the Caitlin Clark stuff and like the Angel Reese stuff and like Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA stuff. It's like the media just puts things out there that are so controversial and like not really about the sport in my view sometimes, where it's all outside stuff just to get people riled up because it brings them clicks and it brings them money. CNN, Fox, they do the same exact thing, where it's like we could be focusing on a lot of other things than negative things, you know. And any rookie that goes into any league is going to get it hard, especially if you're the number 1 pick, especially if you're Caitlin Clark and you have the reputation you have, which is being a cold-blooded killer. When you go to the league, women aren't going to take it easy on her, and people need to understand that. Caitlin Clark's not going to get it easy by any means. Caitlin Clark's going to get shrugged off by Wetz. Caitlin Clark's going to get pushed to the ground because that's the nature of athletics, especially when you have a reputation. If it's a high schooler going to college or a middle schooler going to high school or whatever, the upperclassmen are always going to kind of pick on them, be a little more physical with them and make them prove themselves, right? Also letting them know, hey, we're better up here. It's better up here. You're going to have to work harder up here, you know? And people keep playing all these different kinds of cards, man. And I'm like, hey, maybe it's just athletics. Maybe race doesn't play any kind of role in this, you know? And that agenda's been pushed a lot. And I think that's why we talk about it, is because that's what we see, you know? And is race a part of it? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not in the locker rooms or whatever, but I feel like I've seen a lot of clips where Caitlin Clark is being respected. You know, I've seen clips where, you know, Angel Reese has complimented Caitlin Clark. I've seen a lot of good out of those two, especially towards each other. But we don't always report on that. We want to report about the controversial things. And I think it just tears the thing apart even more. And it's just making it more annoying, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. It is what it is. And you know, I just think we're too quick to pull that card. You know, oh, I'm blurry. There we go. They're still quick to pull that card. Let's just let the ladies hoop. We're getting farther and farther away from what we should be focusing on is their game on the court. I'd like to talk about that a lot more. You know, instead of going on First Take and listening to Stephen A. and Shannon and those other people up there just debating about Caitlin Clark getting pushed to the ground. Who cares? She got back up. She played the basketball game. Who cares? You know, like who cares? Let's not make a bigger deal out of this thing and create more division. That's what happens. It creates more division. If there are concerns and things like that that need to be, you know, talked about, yeah, talk about them. But let's not talk about it the whole episode, you know, and just trust that the WNBA is doing their due diligence to make sure that all players are safe and all that. A lot of stuff can stay, and that's the problem again. A lot of things can stay behind closed doors, but they're not. People just want to, you know, it's always a talking point. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. But Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, two killers, I'll tell you that. Two killers, I'll tell you that. And that's why some people don't like Angel Reese. They be acting like they don't like Angel Reese because she's kind of flamboyant. You know, she speaks her mind. She stands on business. Like, good for you, you know? Good for you. Like, she's showing her swag, and some people don't like that. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, when their careers are over, we're going to look at Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and be proud of what they have accomplished. And you could argue that they may have needed each other in some ways. You know, they probably needed each other to push themselves further as athletes because, you know, Caitlin lost to LSU, Angel Reese and LSU in the national championship last year, and then they came back and beat them this year. And so, yeah, there's definitely like a natural rivalry there already, 100%. But how about as a world we can focus on the good? We don't always have to talk about the bad all the time. We got to address the bad, but we should also talk about the good. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. What else has been going on, man? Haktua Girl has been taking over the internet. Absolutely insane. I put a poll on my Instagram, her for president or it's Corn, Lil Homie, and it's Corn, Lil Homie up. But this Haktua Girl, and again, this is like the crazy world we live in. She has some crazy interview because some guy, like you see all over the place now, is walking around just interviewing random drunk people. Then now she's like getting her own podcast, maybe a reality TV show. It's like, wow. She worked in a spring factory, and now she's probably going to be rich for the rest of her life because she had a fabulous interview. Game of Thrones, hey, House of Dragon. I don't know if anyone's been watching House of Dragon. House of Dragon's been going absolutely nuts. I highly recommend it. Shout out Rhaenyra Targaryen. I'm on that side. If y'all didn't know, I'm on that side. But that's just a great film. And I'm going to say film because they're like hour long. Just great television. You got to absolutely love it. Just great television. We enjoy it. We enjoy it. The things that go into like I'm not a guy who could just sit down and watch TV. You know, I can't just sit down and watch TV unless I'm really pulled in and invested. And it has to come down to good writing, you know, and a good plot. And this show, man, just has me in a chokehold. Ever since Game of Thrones, it's like, damn, this is just good television, good film. Like, the plot's amazing. The anticipation and the build-up and the drama is everything you can get elsewhere, but it's all put into one, along with action. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. Makes me wish I was an actor so I could be a part of something like that because, man... Tell me something more hot on the planet right now than House of Dragon. Any TV show. There's nothing. No movie, no nothing. House of Dragon is the show right now, and it will be till the end of the season. And we're not even halfway through the season right now. And so I got to give big ups for House of Dragon. FIBA Olympics are here now. So, well, not FIBA, but the Olympics are here now. We see Team USA got the God Squad together. But that came with a, you know, I'm going to pull a little something up real quick. First off, Team USA looks great. I think they got a good squad. I don't see anyone coming close. But like this cat, Cooper Flag, let's get to the highlights. Let's get to the highlights. There he is, 31, guarding LeBron. Keep in mind, this kid's 17 or 18. I think he's 18. Maybe 19, it depends. Comes down, right at LeBron. Could have made it, nothing. But look, talk about a dog. Right at him, right at LeBron. Ant for 3. And this was a close game. I watched this scrimmage earlier. It was actually a really close game. I want Cooper Flag, man. Jaime Hawkeye is tough. Let me look. There he is, 31. Uh-oh, you gotta throw that. Bazemski, you gotta throw that. Look at him. That's Drew Holiday. The best on-ball defender in the league. That's Drew Holiday. Look at Ant. Rhythm. WAP. Like, this kid has been playing high school, man. And he's out here. Transition. Miss. Put back and 1. Alright, let's see. We're gonna pick a roll with Coop. What comes out of it? Gotta get him the ball on Tyree. That's tough. And 1. Basically, what I wanted to point out was, first off, Team USA stack. It's crazy to see them all out there. One thing that kind of, I'll get to Cooper Flag in a second. One thing that kind of stood out to me when I was watching Team USA is no more Mike Krzyzewski. Steve Kerr now. Steve Kerr, I think he was there last year, the year before, where we lost. Ended up taking 3rd, I think. What kind of system are they going to be running? Is it going to be a lot of stuff for Steph, similar to Golden State, or are they going to switch it up? What is it going to be? And again, this is different than 2008, 2012, those teams. The game of basketball is a lot different now, so how can all those players play alongside each other? Because all these teams are going to be playing play with each other every summer, and when they grew up, they played with each other. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of unfolds and how they do, because the team right under them, like I think it's the second Team USA, I guess, with Cooper Flag and all those young rookies and sophomores in the NBA, they played them to the wire and only lost by 2. And Cooper Flag, one thing that sticks out to me is, like, I'm like, wow, he is not afraid. Again, it's a scrimmage, so like no crowd, no nothing, but like he seems like he could be in the league this year. He could have been the #1 pick this year by far. Just to see him hooping the way he hoops, the way he plays, he's aggressive. He's going at LeBron downhill. He's shooting over AD. He's able to handle the ball against the Drew Holiday. Like I think that's really impressive. And not only does it make me feel old and useless to the game of basketball, but it's just like, dang, I can't imagine seeing a kid like that. And I know we've seen them come up, but every year I'm reminded, it's just like, wow, I've never seen something like that personally in front of my eyes. I've seen really good players, but not like an 18-year-old doing those kinds of things. Anthony Davis did pretty well when he came out of college, but he was already done with college. He was already getting drafted and going. So it was just crazy. But again, you know, I'm excited. It's the best time of every 4 years is when the Olympics are on, or FIBA basketball's on. So every 2 years, but every 4 for the Olympics, just because it's so fun to watch. There's always something going on, something to watch. It's competition, the best athletes in the world. And just be blessed. It's like we're blessed to be able just to watch that and have the capabilities that we have today to watch such high athletics. You know, back in the day, you couldn't watch them on TV. You had to read through the newspaper, or if you did have TV, you're lucky enough to have that stuff. Not everyone else did. And so, like, you hear legends of like Jim Thorpe and those kinds of guys. Like, we get to watch it all today, like live at any time of the day, and it's cool. Nothing makes me more excited than the Olympics. The swimming, the track, the basketball, everything else, men's, women's, everything. Is tennis up in there? I'm not sure, but yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But I'm gonna get out of here. We're at 1:11, episode 9 with Isaac Fisher. He's a great kid. That was a great conversation. I don't want to say kid. I'm only like a couple years older than him, but he's a great dude. Great conversation. And I'm gonna probably roll another one out here soon. But I just appreciate y'all for sticking with me. I hope y'all watch. And we'll just see where we go from here. Wish me luck. I got some big tournaments coming up. I'm going to Vegas with my 7th graders. That's going to be fun, but it's also really cool to be able to go and coach in these other places of the country and see these other kids and get to watch and be around basketball. I think I love that. I love it so much. Like I honestly, like, I love this. Like I tell some of the other coaches, like, I love this shit. I could sit in the gym all day for the most part. As long as there's some good basketball being played, I could sit in the gym all day. And actually, before I get out of here, I'll just say one thing is and this kind of goes with what I was just saying. You guys stick with me though. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. We have wars. We might be on the verge of another war. We got just like hurricanes hitting, tornadoes, like fire, like all this stuff's happening in the world. And I kind of reflected on it earlier of just like the media only talks about the bad. And with all the things going on in the world, it's easy to get anxious. It's easy to get into your head and be worried. And rightfully so. Yet at the same time, it's always good to reflect on what you have good going on in your life and to realize the things that you can control and the things you can't control, right? And so I've been really grateful for the game of basketball and being able to go to these gyms and coach and do all those things because it's something I love to do. And it just reminds me of how grateful I am to have lived the life I have around the game, and just reflect on the good things I have going on in my life. Even though we have a lot of things and a lot of animosity in the world right now, just take some time and reflect on the things you have good going on in your life and the things you can control. My biggest piece of advice to any person, especially a young person, would to be, again, don't worry about the outside noise. Don't worry about the things you can't control. Take every day one step at a time, but be present. I saw this great video. Before I get off, I'll share it. I saw this great video of a guy. He was holding an hourglass, and the hourglass was going. And he was like, as we sit here, time constantly is passing by. But as you see at the bottom of this hourglass, that is what already has been. We can't take it back. We can't fix it. We can't do anything. Then at the top, you have what is to come, right? But we can't do anything about that until that time is to come. And if you look in the middle where the sand is currently dropping, he's like, that's where we live. It's easy to think about the future, worry about the future, worry about the past, but you forget about where you are right here in the present. And after actually watching that, it really encouraged me just to really do that, stay present. Because in my mind, I think about, did I do this right? Did I do that right? Oh, I have this coming up. I'm worried about this, where I sit around and I look around and I'm like, it's a beautiful day outside. My dogs are happy. My wife's right here. Like, just being present in those moments, because they go by quick and you never know. You never know how many of them you're going to get in your life. So for any person, live in the present. Let the past go. Take care of the future when it gets here. but enjoy your day. Go outside. Go listen to those birds. Go smell the fresh air. You know, be present. It's awesome. It's awesome. Be present, be grateful. You know, there are things to worry about for sure, 100%. But at the same time, control what you can control and pray. All right, y'all. I'll catch you. Good pod. I was kind of all over the place, but first pod back. It is what it is. Now we got some stuff coming up. I'll be hitting some other things, and I'm gonna be expanding out. I'm gonna be talking about sports all the time. But you know, I love it. I love it all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. I'll catch you.